Yo, paranormal peeps, what's happening? God, it's crazy out there at the moment, isn't it? All this racism and God knows what else. Thing is, have to give me 2 seconds. I'm going to feed the horses. They want some apple. Give them some apples to munch on. There they come. Yeah, have some apple. I'm wondering what I'm doing, so I don't look a bit crazy. I'm feeding these buggers, but yeah. Hey. Go on in. 2 seconds. Hi. I'm still inside in my car. What's that? What's that apple? Right. Oh, dribbling all over my bloody car. Look at that. Right, have some apple. Yeah. Right. Put it back. 2 seconds. They find them, maybe. Yeah, where was I? Some videos out at the moment with kids saying only Black Lives Matter, and we're just creating something so damaging to this world. And you know, you're being played like a friggin' harp. Do you know that? Absolutely played like a harp. We're going to leave a world for our kids. I tell you what, they're going to have a job on their hands. It's going to be absolutely insane, and it's shameful, and it's disgusting. And I've been doing this paranormal stuff for such a long time, and you can go back on some of the videos. I did a video years ago called Interview with the Ghost Hunters. My one message was, and I was back then when I was meditating and I was in the church, stop making the same mistakes they made, these people in spirit, because it's all meaningless when you get the other side. Racism and bigotry and hate and prejudice, all of it is just absolutely meaningless. And I mean, you look at that video with this George Floyd, and he just stood there and filmed it and watched it, and then you got police officers coming out of an ambulance, and it's all a bit sus. You got now it's saying they found the killer of Madeleine McCann. We've had disclosure, and if you can't see that that's a distraction, then I don't know what is. They're going to be finding Lord Lucan next, or that guitarist from the Manic Street Preachers, like you know what I mean. Princess Diana, Michael Jackson's going to pop up next. They're just trying anything to distract you from the truth, and you're playing into it, people. You got to think about it. Racism has always been a thing. Hate has always been a thing. I've worked with every religion on earth, every single one, from Mormons to Muslims to born again Christians, and I got to be honest with you. Born again Christians, they're some of the scariest, man. They are some of the scariest. I mean, don't get me wrong, radical Muslims are just up there, but it's all just so ingrained and indoctrinated and just bizarre. And I believe in God, but the God I believe in just believes in love, just believes in hope and love. And he wants us to prosper and be good and just grow and, you know, do whatever we can and love. And it's just never going to stop if you don't start living your life with these rules. And they're not harsh rules. It's not like the rules of the Bible, and it's not like the God who wants to punish. What kind of God would want to punish like that, like it says in the Bible? Yeah, some people in the world, it does seem like they need a bit of a shake-up and a wake-up. But killing people and all my life I've watched this world tear itself apart, and I've watched greedy people and rich people get greedier and richer. And there's so many simple things in this world that we need that are free. All the best things in life are free. Your friends, your family, all the things you really need are free. And it's like everyone's too afraid to say the truth. And it's not just, I'm sorry, and I don't care what you say, it's not just whites who are racist. It's not. But then you look at it and you think, well, maybe they've earned the right to be racist. Some of these people have earned the right to be racist. I'm not about white people, I'm about black people. For some of the things they've been through as people, right? I mean, you look at the Jewish people, right? All the things they've been through as a people, and look at what they're doing out in their country, their promised land. I tell you now. And it's like everybody's waiting for a saviour. Everybody's waiting for someone to come down and save this world. And to tell you the truth, well, I'm going to do a video on this, right, just specifically on that subject, and I don't think it's going to be the answer you're all looking for. I really don't. And if it is the answer that it says in the Bible, then a lot of you who think you're Christians can have a rude awakening. Really are. With preachers buying themselves private jets because they don't want to be on the same plane as demons, and you got the money they make, and the Vatican with all its gold and its wealth, and they're supposed to be the Mecca, and and you got Muslims donate millions and millions of pounds to good causes. They have to give some of their money, and then you've got some of them doing some pretty cruel and dark stuff on the strength of utter nonsense, like adultery, stoning someone to death because they don't love the person they were probably either arranged to be married, or they didn't have a choice in marrying, or they were pushed into marrying, and they get stoned to death. I mean, all these things are just insane. I can't be the only one who thinks they're insane. People make mistakes. People do things that are wrong. People are not always going to be right. But the punishment should fit the crime. If someone you love is an adulteress or an adulterer, just leave them. Just move on. That's what he would say. That's what my God would say to do. But it didn't work out. I'm not going to punish you because you promised in a church to try and do your best to be a good partner to someone. I'm not going to smite you. You're not going to burn in hell for that. You make mistakes. Why would you burn in hell for all eternity? Think about it. Come on, for Christ's sake. Have some sense in your brains, man. And try and teach your kids. If we start teaching our kids and stop listening to the media about refugees and a few radical Muslims, think how brainwashed you've been. Think how brainwashed you've been. Have a look at the paedophiles in the UK. Well, I'd say 99% of them are white. White. Jimmy Savile. Fred West. I could go on. Harold Shipman. You know, and yet you were convinced that these people, and they are coming over here, yes, and they are not adhering to our laws, and if we went to their country, we'd have to adhere to their laws, or there'd be punishments. Like, they can come over here and say what they want, and yeah, it's not fair. But don't you see why that's done? Can't you see why that is done? Do you think it's done because they have more rights than you? No. It's done to create divide. America made the biggest arms deal in the world with the Saudi royal family. If there's no war, what's the point in that deal? You know? And all this rioting and all this thing with this George Floyd, all the people that's been killed and filmed, and you can see it, it's everywhere. You have to go on live leaks and YouTube. It's everywhere. But this one, don't you think it's a bit to like tuck Trump up because he's doing some things that the establishment doesn't like? The darkness of this world doesn't like? Come on, can't you see that? Come on. It's like Dominic Cummings. Don't you think for a second that maybe Boris Johnson, as messed up as it is, when everybody has had to adhere to the rules, and he hasn't even apologised, but don't you think that Boris might have just said, look, you know, you stuck by me, I'll stick by you. We'll just make something up, but, you know, right now in this pandemic, I kind of need you, but, you know, and you did want to see your family, and you did want to take away from kids out, and you've been locked up for 9 weeks, and I know loads of you have broke rules, because I've been out myself, and I've seen you all out and about. But yeah, you're going to just like, every time, and I've been doing it on my Facebook to stir something up. I've been sharing videos to make you think, and the right questions and the right answers to come about. And you can't listen to statistics made by governments. You can't, because they're prejudice. Fact. They create these statistics to suit themselves. This death toll of this COVID-19, they're treating it with ibuprofen, man. Come on. You don't think this was some sort of agenda? They want us all tagged and bagged. They've always wanted us tagged and bagged. I knew about this before 9/11 happened, and it's happening. Can't you see it? How is it possible if we were talking about it that many years ago? We're not just making it up. It's not make-believe. It's not a conspiracy. All these people who are trying to do good have an agenda. We've got paedophiles in government and police forces, and that goes globally. You know, out in India, like, if you're caught out, they beat you with sticks. Is that the world we create in China? They have a government that's just all about power, and they're oppressed, and that's all you hear in the media is China. When you say China, you think of every Chinese person who was involved in releasing COVID-19. Of course they weren't. Just the government. This always happens. When terrorists target people, they just target people. They never target the people responsible. They try and create discourse. That's bullshit. It's already discourse in nearly every country on earth. There was rioting before COVID-19. The French were rioting. The Spanish were rioting. Everybody was frigging rioting around the world. Bit convenient, isn't it? You go to your local beaches now and your local beauty spots when this lockdown is released, and you watch the mess people leave. You watch the mess that people leave in our countrysides and on our beaches, because they are selfish. You just know, you look at them, and you should stop them. You should say, pick it up. You should have some man bones and say, pick it up. Stop it. And if you see someone being cruel to someone, you should say, we should come together and say, stop it. That's all it takes to make the world a better place, is to say, no, that's not acceptable. If you remove the government soldiers, they go to fight for freedom and they go to fight for love, and yet they perform cruelties, and when they're found in want, they're cast aside and neglected, and they have to go to charities to get funding, to get help. Charities, for Christ's sake. These people have given their lives to save us because they've been brainwashed to believe that we need saving from an invisible, poor enemy. Don't you understand? Can't you see it? Can't you see it? And violent protest is just wrecking the future, because you lazy arseholes will reckon they're never going to build nothing. Do you know that? You're not going to do all this, everything you see around that's been built by hard-working, working-class people, the world you live in, the clubs you go to, the shops you shop in. They were built by real people, working class people who had morals and respect for each other, and they worked hard. There'd be nothing left, and you keep having children and you take everything for granted, and you accept the lies because you feel like you're powerless. Well, you have more power than you ever realise, and we just got to come together and say we don't want this anymore. This is not the world we want. I have a right. I have people in this world that I love. And I want to see him have a future. I want to see him have the childhood that I had. And I want to see him grow up. And I want to see him have the opportunities that I've had. Better than I've had. Because I've been mistreated on my level of the work environment. I've been neglected. I've been cast aside. And if you're going to keep smashing things up and blaming each other and saying just Black Lives Matter when all lives matter, all lives. Look at Epstein. Look how many children were involved in the... Look at the cover-ups. Look at the cover-ups of the things that man did. Hollywood. Look at the stuff that's coming out about that now. This darkness has swamped this planet. It has drowned it. And we just have to stand together, guys. We don't have to riot. We don't have to smash things up. We just have to come together and say it's not acceptable. Enough's enough. And you have to vote for the right people. We have to hand-pick the right people that we want to make these decisions and make these things right. And we have to make sure that our police are not just in there so they can be bullies, or they were bullied and they're right in the head. Because they're up against it, big time. Would you want to be a police officer nowadays? Would you want to be a police officer, full stop? Which side of the law do you live on? I know which side of the law I live on. And I've mostly lived my life on the opposite side of the law. Because I've had no choice. I've had no choice sometimes to break the rules. No choice at all. And it's time to grow up, because you are like children. You look at how you act, and all this money and all this greed and the separation of us and just the way your mind works. If you don't know that you've been manipulated to thinking something that isn't true, you're wrong there. Because you have. You really have. You've been manipulated. You've been manipulated over this COVID-19. You've been manipulated through the media. You've been manipulated while you hear our friends. I've worked over my life with about 600 different boys, and the majority of them are racist, and they couldn't even tell you why. Yet they'll go to a football match and they'll buy a coloured man's football jersey for 60 quid and go and worship him. Do you see how mental that is? Can't you see how just insane that mindset is, and it's damaging to our world? Look how many people are suffering with mental health right now. Look how many people are suffering with mental health right now, because this world is me, my, I. That's all you ever hear everyone say. I've even got people close to me that are me, my, I. And it's going to leave us in a shit and sorry state, unfortunately. So, and you can look at the facts and you can say that I'm wrong, and well, you need to check your information twice, because I've got this from source. My life has been led in a direction and on a path where I have got to talk to people that you have lost and loved, and I am trying and willing you to know the truth. So let's stand together. Love and light, para peeps. See you in the next video.